Hello, you beautiful people, and welcome back here to League on Lock. My name is Eric. Thank you for joining us, as always, as we continue the countdown for the LEC player rankings. Not player rankings, I lied to you just now, power rankings, because you've been waiting a long time for those. I know we did the LCK and NA a lot earlier, and there was a big gap, but they're coming now. Full swing ahead just before the LEC actually kicks off. We're on to number 8 now, and as you recall, it's the first year of franchising in Europe, so there's a bunch of new teams coming around. We saw it happen in NA in 2018, where the entire league was just completely blown up. Players are swapping all over the place, and you got to get used to a whole bunch of new logos. But the team coming in at number 8 is not a new logo. It's a logo that fans from the early years of the LCS are already accustomed to. SK Gaming makes their return to the LCS, even though it's the LEC now. They haven't been there since 2015, and the roster, they were far and away the latest roster in EU to announce their team that they would have, and that's one of the main reasons why we did these rankings so late, is because SK, you guys took too long to announce your roster, but their roster, 3/5 of the Mad Lions here from the Spanish League and the EU Masters League that we've seen. So right there is one of the main reasons why we have them here at number 8. Obviously, Mad Lions dominated European Masters Summer. They've dominated a lot of the minor region tournaments and in the Spanish League. And you've already got that inherent synergy with 3 of the players coming over here. You got to imagine with all this chaos that's been in the offseason, every single team in EU making at least some sort of change, some a lot more drastic than others. A lot of the teams are coming in with 5 players that haven't played together before. So having 3 guys from a former team come together is going to be huge for them. I think it'll help them pick up some wins early on here, and then the likes of Pyrian coming in. I know he became a bit of a meme at the end of his SKT tenure by going, I forget, 0-9, whatever the meme was, on Oriana, a reverse legendary, as Papa Smithy so beautifully coined. But this squad should be 8th, I think, is about as high as we can probably see them going on these power rankings, just because the top 7 are pretty darn stacked in EU. But I'm excited to see a lot of this young talent, and good for Mad Lions, because with Nemesis also going on to Fnatic, that's 4/5 of their starting lineup that we'll be seeing on the LEC stage, which is pretty darn exciting. SK Gaming, if you're talking about branding, I mean, they don't really have to do much. They already had so much with the era of Forgiven that was on there. You had Svenskeren a lot. Ocelot actually built this brand up, basically, so seeing them back on the big stage in EU is definitely going to be exciting. And, you know, these players have a chance to make a name for themselves. Mad Lions, I know they've already, like I said, dominated all those minor regions. We'll see how they can compete on the main stage. Dreams in at support is the biggest question mark for me, and I think that's really the only thing I can say about this roster is why, because someone like Targamas was available. He's still a guy who's developing and showed signs of promise on Giants. I'm still confused why he's gone back-to-back splits without finding a starting spot in EU. That's a bit mind-boggling to me that Dreams is starting over him. But who knows? Maybe he'll surprise and come up and perform well, but he didn't look great when he was on Mysterious Monkeys, and that was the last time he was on the big stage. SK Gaming, they can't expect to get right back to the top in their very first split. It's been over 3 years since they played on this big stage, so it's going to take a little bit of time for them to, you know, get back into the swing of things. But they have been playing in minor regions before, you know, the local regional. There's so many regional tournaments and events that EU are housing, and SK has been a part of them, but obviously not this roster. Pyrian, we like to forget, by the way, that he had some great games on SKT, and they actually felt that the team played better with him in the mid lane over Faker. No, he's not better than Faker. Otherwise, SK would probably be number 1 on our power rankings, but he did perform well against some of the best LCK mid laners. Again, we'll forget about the last couple of games he played where he went, you know, 0-9 on the Orianna. He should do all right in EU, but the guy to watch on this roster is definitely going to be in the top lane. It's going to be Werlib, who is another guy, if you recall, and we're paying attention to the LCS many, many moons ago. He played on Giants, is where he started his career in the LCS. He was also a sub top laner for Fnatic and played on Fnatic Academy, but on Giants he was one of the standout players alongside the likes of Pepinero in that mid lane, and way back then he was basically known as a Jax one-trick that was perma-banned against him. He rarely ever got to play that on stage, but now he's definitely developed. He has been grinding it out in, again, the minor regions of Europe. He was the captain of that Mad Lion squad, and he was dominating in European Masters and a lot of the other tournaments that they were eventing, going through, and winning a lot of those events. So kudos to him for really sticking it out after not being in the LCS for so many years. And I think his playstyle's finally developed. He can still play the Jax. That's still his go-to champion, but he's really diversified his champion pool. He still loves playing the carries. He loves the Fiora. He was playing some Hecarim top in EU Masters. And tanks are obviously going to be a backseat for him, but you know what? That suits pretty darn well for this meta, especially when even the premier tanks like someone, maybe Ornn, who's getting hit by the Nerf hammer here in Season 9. So a lot of these champions are going to be right up his alley in the likes of that Fiora, which, you know, he loves playing that. And Jax, anytime we get to see Jax in the top lane, it's going to be a fun time. But I'm expecting SK to play a lot around that top lane, especially when Werlib and Self-Made Man himself have a whole lot of inherent synergy already from the Mad Lions. You can expect them to be getting a lot of jungle attention in the top lane. And Werlib's return to the LCS, I think it's going to be a good one. But SK Gaming coming in at number 8.